It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day. Hi, neighbor. How are you, neighbor? I'm going to put my socks on, neighbors. Who is visiting us in TV land? Oh, I did. My chest. I was very responsible. I've been drinking sage tea. Excuse me, didn't mean to cough in the microphone. Sage tea with elderberry, and I think I put oregano in there and mint. Probably should have put some crushed mushroom in there as well, like some gandoderma, reishi. That might be a good idea. That way I would also get some immuno support. Hadn't thought about that, but I think I'll do that. Yes, I did. And at first I thought it was my cat. My cat is frequently blamed for things she doesn't do. Hi, my lover. Beloveds, how are you? Okay, so welcome to the stream. Why do I feel like I've got stuff on my face here? Okay. A couple of announcements. We have a new book for the Book of the Month Club. It is The Sunny Side of Crazy. Am I the only person that's fascinated by multiple personality disorder or dissociative disorder? I sometimes dissociate and I just get into these intense thoughts, and then I'll come back and I'll be sitting on a bus and everybody will be staring at me and I'll realize that I've been talking to myself. Anybody else do this? Anybody as crazy as I am? I used to disassociate so much that I would literally talk to myself because I would get wrapped up in my own stuff, and then I would snap out of it and realize that I was like lost in my own world. It was very embarrassing, but I still do that to some extent. But just that is a form of dissociative where you literally get pulled so much into your own head, you lose sight of the outside world. And that can be a problem. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I saw something that was pretty funny where these people were protesting against Palestine, the Palestinian war, right? What was going on in Israel and Gaza. And they're protesting outside this yeshiva. And what was funny about it was that the guy was being real. And it was a guy who looked like he was probably in his mid-30s. And he's putting on his study garments. I think it must have been a Shabbat. It must have been Shabbos. I think he was putting on his talis. And there was another guy, hurry up, let's go. And people were like protesting outside this Orthodox yeshiva, free Palestine. And they stopped this rabbinical student and they say, what do you think about what's going on in Gaza? He says, there's something going on in Gaza. You know what's going on? No, I don't know what's going on. There's children dying. There are children dying? Where? Well, that's such a terrible... Don't you read? They had no idea who they were. A Jew is a Jew to them. They're just anti-Semites. So don't you watch the news? No, I have never seen the news. I don't watch the news. I don't have a TV. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have... And he's like trying to go into the synagogue, and they're like, it's war. The Jewish guy says, he looks very serious, and he says, War is a very bad thing. And he goes into the synagogue. It was pretty funny. I'll try and find the tape for you. But the reason I tell that story is that sometimes we can get so lost in our own world that we have no idea, uh, yeah, that we are, living in our own world. And we don't see, we live in a fishbowl. Like for him, from morning until night, he was sitting in a room studying the Talmud, studying the Torah, and his family doesn't own a TV. His parents never owned a TV. The only newspapers he sees are in Yiddish, and they have to do with what's going on locally with their own rabbinical communities, and um, it's just fascinating that, and maybe there's a lesson there for all of us that we just need to get on with our own damn lives and maybe be to some extent innocent like that, in that we're kind to everyone. The rabbi wasn't hostile or anything like that to the man. He was trying to be emotionally sensitive, but he genuinely didn't watch TV or basically live in the 21st century. And so I thought that was just a really fascinating exchange. I mean, they literally live cloistered practically. They live in cloistered worlds where they might see something in the outside, what the outside world is doing. They may hear some yelling. I don't know what this is. And but it's like being an Amish. You get in, you live in, and it's all consuming too. You can become, it can be a world where we can all become all consumed. So I guess the question is that a form of disassociation? And if it is a form of disassociation, I'm sorry, I know people want it said, can we see it? I think I saw it on X, and it's just, it was just something really funny. Um, and yeah, I'm sorry. I think that everybody just thought it was pretty funny because it just expresses how we can all get lost in our own headspace. I should have saved that. I'm sorry. If I do find it, you'll get a good chuckle out of it. But it also reminds me, again, because I've been studying cloistered life. And last night, as I was doing the meditations, I thought about this. And so the sunny side of crazy is about dissociative disorder. I look forward to having Trisha, all of Trisha, with us towards the end of April, and about her story of experiencing dissociative disorder. So we're talking about dissociative disorder and how all of us can dissociate, and how sometimes dissociation can be something that we do in order to protect ourselves from the outside world. For example, many Jewish people may have avoided conflict with the outside world because it was violent and terrible, and then chosen instead to cloister, study the Torah, the Talmud, and just kind of keep a low profile. And some communities stayed like that, never engaging in the outside world, never being hostile or anything, just simply being in their own community and trying not to push buttons, basically. And that was really the energy you got from this particular individual, was that he was just somebody who um, was taking care of his community, studying constantly. And what was also interesting about the little clip was that you could really see how all engrossing a Torah Talmud life is. To be that committed to your faith, The closest I can think about it is these cloistered monks that are men that are part of the Benedictine and the Franciscan, some of the Franciscan orders, some of the orders we see in Greece to this day, some of the Catholic orders, and some of the Greek Orthodox orders, maybe some Eastern Orthodox, where the scholar is just cloistered with their sacred text, and maybe as a way of surviving things like the Bolsheviks revolution, right? Yeah, this is not my revolution, right? So what comes from that is a kind of peacemaker, right? And perhaps we are all called at this time, if we are peacekeepers, to help those we can help that are in front of us. But shouting, screaming, and engaging in the argument will not get us closer to peace. What will get us closer to peace is being a peaceful person, creating peace zones, and inviting those who wish to not be at war to join you in this sacred space and break bread with them and offer them sanctuary. And that sanctuary should be wherever you are. An open door to peaceful persons, whether it's in Israel or Gaza or the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, if you prefer. The idea is that governments and private citizens agree that we have had enough. And so we come together to create these safe zones. And when we do that, children don't die in Israel and they don't die in Gaza, because human beings' basic needs have been met. Now, this idea is ancient. It goes back to the ancient trade routes, where people would move their caravans from oasis to oasis to oasis, seeking peace and good trade, which was the lineage of the Brahmites, the Abramites. And they did amazing trade, and they built those early trade routes along the Silk Road, etc., into the Levant. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, how can we get back to center? Because it always goes back to the trade, doesn't it? Those trade routes. We must find a way to start afresh. And I think it starts with ourselves, creating that space within ourselves. And then from that will grow something greater. And it's another reason why we've talked about the Carmelite nun tradition also, that they cloistered from the Inquisition, where women were being murdered for witchcraft, right? And all kinds of crazy things. And so they just created an oasis for themselves, sisters, right? Teresa of Avila, she and her sisters, they went off and cloistered. We don't want to be a part of that. We just want to go inward, peace, right? And escape all of that. Other would be St. John of the Cross, right? Did the same thing, just kind of, I'm not gonna participate in all of that. He went off into his hermitage, slept on a rock, right? But it was the same concept of pursuing peace. Other historical or cultural contexts of this phenomenon, where things get out of hand and we retreat into the self, would be the Sikh tradition of the Wahiguru, right? Wahiguru, going into the inner sanctuary. And then once you've taken care of yourself, you can invite others to join you. This is a much higher vibration than us attacking one another in politics. And I think it's actually making things worse. And it's not what this channel does anymore. And there are channels that do that if people want to crack jokes and attack people based on politics. But as I try to move towards my center, towards peace, creating peace zones, encouraging others to create peace, it doesn't seem to be moving the needle by boxing. No one's hearing us anyway, right? No one's listening to your opinion. No one cares. But do you have the power to create a safe zone? Do you have the power to work with governments to create safe zones? Do you have the wealth to create a safe zone and to partner with other businesses to create kibbutzes? What I am asking my fellow humans to do is to create safe zones. I'm asking you to create safe zones. It can be in Costa Rica or Chile or USA, but these are communities where we all come together and we agree not to fight. And we abide by the laws of the nation that hosts us, which means we are not there to create civil war against the country that hosts the safe zone. We are there to abide by their rules, or we will be kicked out of their safe zone. This is the agreed upon, the UN, everybody. You can't be invited to a safe zone in some country and then start trying to get riots going. You'll get kicked out. So the purpose of these zones, what we're trying to get people to agree on, if we bring you into Israel, if we bring you into Egypt, if we bring you into Indonesia, will you promise us that you pledge you will respect the host country? If you do that, this process will happen much faster. And we will do everything in our power to make sure that everyone has a safe zone. That is what this is my purpose. So the Global Oasis Alliance. The Global Oasis Alliance is an opportunity for you and me and the rest of the world to come together and say that we have had enough, that we choose peace, that we choose life. And furthermore, we want to make sure that the people of Gaza who have chosen peace can get to safe passage, because Gaza is falling to Hamas. I mean, it's falling because of Hamas. The Israelis are going to go in, they're going to secure the land, and they're going to get back their hostages, rightly so. My God, can you imagine watching your child raped every night? I mean, they're sending film footage of this stuff. You'd be out of your mind. You'd go insane. You would claw the dirt to get to your frickin' baby. Celebrating the death of children being murdered and they ripped them apart from their mother. These are not people that get to go to Oasis. These are not people that get to be part of our party. And so right now, there is a division happening in Gaza. There are people that are going to get on that bus. Whether the bus is leaving from El Rev and taking you to a boat in Ashdod, or a bus at Shalom Kerem. You have a decision to make. I would prefer you choose life. We knew phase 2 was going to be difficult. So we are asking everybody in the world to help in this process. Help those who have chosen life get to safe zones. And those who have chosen death, I'm sorry for that. Ramadan is coming to an end, and you have an opportunity to experience Islam, to experience true peace. What we are all praying for, that's the vibration of Ramadan. The fast that many of us have done. Not because we're Muslim, but because we want to be part of that. That vibe, that good energy of Islam. That we're all can feel it. We can feel it in our bones, in our vibe. Particularly when we pray with the Sufi. The Sufi are praying hard right now that everybody stop this madness. Their tears are drenching their clothing. Every time they see a Jewish child die, every time they see an Arab child die, please, you must stop this insanity. This is not what God wants from us. And to just take a moment and receive God's love, Allah's love, as they perceive of it. Feel that good vibe. Let it carry you into moderation, into the center, into the oasis, Islam. Because anything other than that is not the heart of what they are trying to manifest right now. Everything else is crazy talk. All this literal translations of text that we don't even know what the hell was going on back then. Instead, keep it simple. Keep everything simple. Be a simple, simple person. Just keep it simple. What are you doing? You just raped a granddaughter of Abraham. You just raped Abraham's granddaughter. You shot and killed Abraham's grandson. What are you doing? Get back to center. Pesach, right? If you're a Yid, it's the same vibe. Now is the time that we are talking about checks and balances, right? The Parsha Shavua. If you're a nice Yiddish Mädel like me, we're studying the Parsha Shavua, right? And it's all about building the Beis Hamikdash. What is the Beis Hamikdash? What is the tabernacle? It's the place that is so holy and sacred and beautiful that God's presence can reside, an oasis. And they used to carry it through the desert, the tabernacle of God. And God's presence, which was feminine, would enter the house. And we find this same tradition in the Yoruba tradition when Oshun comes down and you feel that same Islam, that good vibe that they're trying to bring down during Ramadan. It's that same, ooh, that feels good. It's the feminine divine. It's that beautiful fairy energy, right? You got to create a safe space. Nobody wants to be around the negative. Nobody wants to be around some screaming guy talking about, I can take slaves, right? No, that's just crazy talk, right? So, you know in your heart when you're doing bad things, stop lying to yourself. You know when you're twisting your spiritual text to have your personal needs met, you know you're lying to yourself, right? Go back to center. Be a child of Abraham. Keep it simple. Feed the hungry. Love yourself. Create oasis zones. This horror will end very soon if we remember the basics. Jealousy only happens when someone feels that somebody else has something that they're entitled to. How do you create a new Zionist? You make them an investor. This is an ancient concept from the Torah. When a person is living on kibbutz in that host country, they pledge allegiance to that country. If they're living on a kibbutz in the United States, they pledge allegiance to that country because that country they are an investor in. This is how you build allegiance. This is what Avraham Avinu teaches us. And this is what we have to go back to. Go back to the basics. And if we all do that, we will create a new trade route, which is based on the values that we can all share. That is the message from Spirit at this time. If you are fasting, please have an easy fast and a wonderful Eid as well. Feel free to invite me if you're in the Portland area, because I love I love the food and the music and the fellowship and the henna and the love and the prayers and all that goodness that comes with Eid. Let's bring in the prayers. Thank you all for being here. If you would like to receive a healing at this time, please give us your name and the name of those you love, and you too shall receive a healing from the community as we pray to that which is good, that which is higher, that which is the creation, in whatever religion or way that speaks to us in our own tradition. Because this is an oasis zone. Let's bring it in. Yes, Web Shiva, we have Arabs active in it. Are you single? Oh, speaking of which, didn't I show you the picture of the co-creator? He's single. The co-creator's a Bedouin. Oh, Web Shiva. Web Shiva had a good question. Before we do this, how old are you, Web? Oh my God, he's going to kill me. He's really good looking, but he's like my brothers. I've known him since I used to date his brother, but let me see if I can find a picture of the guy that helped me create the oasis. Okay, let me see. I can't believe you guys haven't seen. I thought I showed you guys this stuff. All my Arab co-creators of the oasis. I might not be able to show it right now, but yeah, his name's Nabil. His family originally came from Egypt, but then they settled in Syria, and then they were Syrian refugees. And then my other helper is Ahmed, and he's also Egyptian. And then we have two Palestinian researchers as well. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't find his picture. Oh, well. Yeah, a lot of Palestinians wanted to create the kibbutz model, and there was some frustration that more wasn't started by Palestinian leadership. So it would be great. Like I said, it's done by the host country. And it's not just Palestinians. It's anybody who wants peace should have a peace zone. Thank you, Web Shiva. Those are real legitimate criticisms. And but you do have to live under the authority of whatever country is hosting a peace zone. Yeah, if you're a Nazi, though, Web Shiva, and you want to exterminate Jews, that will not be welcomed in Oasis. Yeah, I'm pretty strict about that. Okay, let's bring it in. I don't have sympathy for that. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you requesting healing at this time, we ask that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and spirit. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. I know that I must have received some healings from you. I have been doing my herbal teas, and also my cough is mostly gone. So thank you for those of you who have sent me Reiki and other good energy. I feel much better. Thank you. Do you guys want to get together and do HCRV on Monday? I should be able to teach on Monday. I should be back to normal. I'll put it up because we got behind. We're behind by a class. We have to catch up. It will be class 5, and it's a very important class, and I strongly recommend you be there live if you can, because I'm going to teach it Monday because we're behind. So what was I going to say about that? Yeah, we're doing targets. The lecture is going to be on how to latch onto a target, because we're doing phase 4, lecture 5, and phase 4 is the target. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to give people their collective readings. Would you all like that? Would you guys like to have a collective? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what is in store for you and the world in the coming week or so? Let's see what the energy is like. Thank you, my loves. I've got 2 open at the same time, and that's part of why I think I get a weak signal. I'm wondering, do you think if I opened with Safari, it would make my other signal on Chrome stronger? What do you guys think? Do you think that would work? I'm just curious. Because I think one of the reasons why my signal gets weak is because I've got 2 things open at the same time. So I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to open this one and see. I just can see your questions better if I have the actual YouTube open. And then I can pin them, which I can't do with the restream. And okay. Oh, yeah. See, that did help, didn't it? That improved it, didn't it? Did that improve it, or was it okay before? I think that we may have had a solution, is to just have one of my streams be through Chrome and one be through Safari. There you go. Watch Whimsy learn. Watch a Luddite learn. All right. What is in store for the world this week? Let's take a look. Great to see you all. If you could like and subscribe to the stream, I'd be most appreciated. We are so close to 100K, and then I get to have a little present from YouTube, and that's going to be so much fun. Yeah, I get my ego stroked. It's so pathetic, I know. I'm so cool. I got 100,000 subscribers. All right. Now is the time for deep meditation. Listen, like last night when I was trying to meditate, excuse me, and I was trying to imagine that I was like a Carmelite nun. I was being guided by the Carmelites last night to just kind of go inward. And then I was thinking about also like the Sikh, the Wahi Guru, the inner heart, and try and detach from all this. Is too much news. It's too much. The base card is the Hierophant, the higher ethos. And Four of Swords is a retreat. It's to care for oneself. I might be getting this right now because I've been a little run down. But to guard the self, or also, it's a deep meditative card. So we have this kind of spiritual ethos and this deep meditation that it's talking about. Have people been meditating more lately, less lately? How's your meditation practice been, everybody? You've been feeling like you're tired and you just want to close your eyes and rest? Sorry, I just want to take this over here so you can see the cards a little better. Because it could be that part of what's going on is that you're just energetically exhausted. And when we're energetically exhausted, then we get this kind of, needing to meditate, needing to recharge. I know that's definitely, like, I've got all this stuff going on with me right now. So, thank you, Whip Shiva. So yeah, so just make sure you're recharging and taking care of yourself. Where you're at right now, looking to the horizon, looking instead of, oh my God, all your energy is being wasted. What's Trump going to do tomorrow? What's so and so going to do? I want you to think more like RBG. Is that right? Yeah, RBG, which is getting control of your life, just like the rabbi that didn't know there was a war going on, and because he was just, I don't want you to be that unplugged, but the idea here is that they want you to have like a plan for your life, particularly over the next 3 months. So they're saying to you, plan for tomorrow, look beyond the horizon, build a foundation. But what are you going to be doing for the next 3 months? Like, I know what I'm planning to do for the next 3 months. Like, I know I'll be in Israel next month trying to learn about peace zones. I have much I need to learn. I don't understand a lot about how peace zones work, right? So the next 3 months is whimsy getting educated, I'm visiting peace zones so that they can teach me how the heck are we going to make this happen, right? So I already have I'm in my prayer and resting because I got the flu, right? I got the COVID, but I'm also Three of Wands, pulling back from. I don't spend a lot of time being manipulated to watch people's news that the world is ending every 5 seconds. Instead, your energy should be concentrated on self-care, meditation, and what are you going to be doing the next 3 months to try and make sure less children are dying all over the world, whether it's from famine because they didn't get their US aid peanut butter, right? These children have starved to death. We showed you a picture of a kid that died Thursday. Find the problem and then do your part to personally take care of it. We cannot sit around waiting for Hamas to do the right thing while children die back and forth. If we can't wait for Egypt to do the right thing and open the gate, don't trap these children anymore in this hellhole. No, they're not going to open the gate. And the same is true for whatever's going on in your personal life. Don't wait for him, her, they to do the right thing. Do you think they'll call? Do you think they'll pay me back? Do you think don't ever be at the mercy of somebody else to do the right thing, particularly if they haven't in the past. That's what RBG was talking about. You see a problem, the child, well, that's not our fault, so-and-so did this. A child needs an IV fluid, electrolytes, and some anti-parasitics right now, or the child's going to die. I don't give a fuck who's blaming who. Everybody wants to blame the other instead of dealing with the acute crisis, right? So Three of Wands is what can you do personally rather than blaming or sitting about waiting for somebody else to fix the problem, to pick up a broom and take care of it now, because there are crises everywhere. What can you do right now? Where are there crises that you personally can help? And do you need to rest? Like me being exhausted. you know, just all of this, right? Because you're not getting oxygen, right? But my point is that the next 3 months, everyone is to build something that thinks beyond the rainbow. Three of Wands is about waiting for your ship to come in. But the dark aspect, every card has a dark aspect. So what do you think the dark aspect of Three of Wands is? If you're a reader. Procrastination. Waiting for Joe Biden to fix it, waiting for Trump to fix it, waiting for Netanyahu to fix it, waiting for El-Sisi to open the gate, waiting for Putin to not be insane, right? Instead of what can I do? Well, how can I get involved? Because we can't be at the mercy of hoping that people who have historically done us wrong will eventually get with the program. You must do it yourself. That is the message of RBG. Don't wait for him to buy you that car or pay your credit cards off or pay you back or do right by you with the inheritance or all of the other things that you feel, or pay you back after he defrauded you. How many of us have been defrauded, ripped off? Well, of course they're not going to pay you back. Do fraudsters pay people back? So Three of Wands has a dark aspect. The person is sitting there waiting. I'm waiting, right? And the positive aspects are you're not waiting and you're doing it yourself. What is crossing you at this time is there's fighting. God, I'll swear I'll find the picture of the rabbi. This person has their back to the fighting and they're off looking at their own. What do I got to do over the next 3 months to make sure that this particular problem is dealt with? That's it. You put your back to they're fighting and they want you to be part of the fight because from a Buddhist perspective, right? Who is the truly angry person? If you look at this from a Buddhist perspective, hi Nadia, I just saw you there. Hi, Nadia Donella. Hi. From a Buddhist perspective, who is the angriest person in the room? The person that eggs on the fight and then sits back and smiles and said, "This is a good fight. Yeah, this is a good fight." So the British did that during the British occupation of Palestine, right? Hey, those Jews are killing Arabs in Hebron. Wasn't true. They just wanted the Arabs to kill the Jews. So they spread a false rumor. And then they went over to Hebron. Well, they're killing Jews in Jerusalem. They tried to stir things up because what was happening in Palestine before the British? We were building kibbutzes. We were building communities. And we were becoming united. And what was wrong with that? We were getting organized against the British and we were going to kick them out and we were going to build Palestine and we were all going to be free and happy and we were going to live in big kibbutzes as organized socialist Democrats. And Bernie Sanders' family showed up and all these cool hippies and it started working. Well, that's not going to work. So the British started rumors to get us to kill each other, right? And to get them to, well, unfortunately, he drove them into the arms of the Nazis, right? Basically. So by doing that, what the British actually did was they created more Nazis. So they inevitably created more of a problem for themselves, right? Because they went off to create allies that were not, the Jews were going to align with the British, right? So it was all created by the British. So what do we know? We know that the British were an incredibly angry and continue to be an incredibly angry society that engaged in hegemony all over the world through divide and conquer. And that sadly, am I frozen? And that sadly, those policies continue. They continue in Israel, etc., rather than thinking in terms of unity. right? Which would build up the state. You don't want people organizing against you. But the problem is that now it's not appropriate. Now people are organizing against the state, and the state cannot stand. So we've got to switch it around. It shouldn't be dog eat dog. It should be unity. Same is happening here in the United States. 5 of Wands. Fighting is over you. Look to what you can build, not what you can deconstruct. There are people that want you to fight. I know them because I'm kind of like them myself. I know what it's like to be Elon Musk. I like to fight. I like to fight and punch and wrestle. I'm an Aries, right? But I'm also a responsible adult who understands that I can get that out of my system by playing chess on chess.com, right? That's my little thing that I'm into right now, right? I got to beat that computer, right? Move away from the fighting. Oh, it was choppy. I apologize for that. I apologize, darlings. We live in a retro world. What can I say? What is above us is domination, or the emperor, or we have this ruler above us. We also, what is above us though is our higher ethos, our ability to think before we act. If we're just talking about the emperor as an archetype, and by the way, a great place for it to be is the 4th house, because the 4th house is associated with your brain and your higher ethos. So the idea that the emperor sits in the 4th house is really auspicious for you. It means that you're thinking right. You've got control of your brain, honey. You may see the fighting. It may be completely exhausting, but if you take a look at your cards, what they're saying is go with God, go with your higher ethics, that which you know to be true, not what they're telling you on the news, because they lie to manipulate you. Just what you can see with your own eyes. Is there somebody who needs to eat? Is there somebody? Go with your own ethos, and 4 of Swords, rest and go inward. Then you see the 1st house, 3 of Wands, waiting for something. 3 of Wands is 3 months, building something, waiting for your ship to come on in. What can you manifest that's going to allow your ship to come in the next 3 months? That's what you should be thinking. Turn your back to what is over you, the conflict, the fighting, all this. I like Midas touch, but I can't listen to them constantly trying to egg on the fighting. It's not helping. It's only making people angry. How can we move away from anger and fighting, but just inform? This is why I am voting for Democrats. This is why we need to change the House, right? Without all of this need for this 5 of Wands conflict, which is making us sick and dividing us in ways that are dangerous. What we sit in is the Fool. Many of you are about, excuse me, about to go on some big adventure. There's this big adventure that's coming. Like the Fool takes a leap of faith the next 3 months. Wait, and that your ship is coming in. What is behind you is health challenges. Maybe you weren't feeling well. Maybe you got COVID like I did. Maybe you were depressed and exhausted, but you've had some health challenges that have probably kept your energy low and kept you from doing everything you wanted to do. And regarding those health issues, 2 of Wands, build healthy daily habits. 2 of Wands is about partnerships and your relationship to the environment. So we are in our environment. It's like, how do you create a terrorist? You create an environment that produces a terrorist. How do you create somebody that's not a terrorist? You put them in an environment where they don't have the opportunity to learn to be a terrorist, a safe zone, a peace zone, right? So it's not that they're a malak and that you read in the Torah. No, it's entirely environmental. That's how you become a terrorist. All right, so 2 of Wands is about environmental anthropology, in a sense that it's how you engage in your environment and the partnerships. It has to do with importing and exporting in our partnerships. And I think the fact that it's aligned for you with this Emperor card would tell me, seek rational people in your life. You know, the fact that your mind is getting rational, that you're seeing past the BS, that you're seeing that everybody is trying to get everybody to fight, and you just want to get people to oasis. We can agree to disagree. Plant a tree, create beauty in the world. And how can I be a part of that? Because people are starting to become very rational. And there are people who are going to go broke if they can't get everybody to fight. And people are just going to, we have to change our rhythm up. Two of Wands is about a new partnership that sustains you and the other. So it's also, if you look at some books on the tarot, it'll talk about a symbiotic relationship, which is also what oasis is. If you have a kibbutz, everyone owns a piece of the land. And so if the kibbutz succeeds, it's your success. If it fails, it's your failure. Two of Wands is that great symbiotic partnership of equals that Webb Shiva was talking about. We want to respect the host country, but we also want everybody to be treated with equality and respect, which is basically democratic socialism, right? And that was the ideal that threatened the colonialist, right? So how can we do this in a way that's going to be less threatening and works with those host countries and puts an end to this madness? And it's really quite a dance, right? Of the country doesn't want to be threatened. You're bringing these people in to do what? No, they'll sign. They are here to support your country. So if you invited them into a country that desperately needed construction workers, it would be all for one and one for all, and let's get together and let's build something great, which is what happened in Indonesia. They needed people, and they are now building a safe zone. But why should it just be Indonesia? We should all be building these places. So that wonderful partnership is coming in for all of us, and you yourself are a safe zone, right? Where we are at right now, Six of Cups, get back to the garden, go back to that which you love, explore your own childhood, learn how to play again. God wants us to play again. Talks about Abraham Avinu and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah used to play, man and woman. Him and his wife, they were always playing and laughing. People used to spy on them because they were laughing all the time. Like, are you sure you're married to her? There are references like that in the Bible that they were so happy that people are like, what is that about? But it's very important for our mental health to be able to play. And just like Abraham Avinu was able to, he understood that it was very important to be like a child and play, that he and his wife would play. They probably had pillow fights and giggled and made love, and he ate her delicious food, and they had a truly wonderful life together. And they got back to the garden. That is what the guidance is. Back to the basics, back to the kibbutz, back to equality and respect. And the simple things of life. Be like a child. Learn to play again. Play fair. The opposition to this process at this time is poverty, both environmental poverty, because when there's political problems, what often happens is that the poor wind up living in the trash heaps, right? So we have this opposition, which is this bleak, dark poverty, being locked out of the church, spiritual exile. How can we use our faith, whether it's as a Jew, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, how can we open the door just a bit to make the other feel loved and more included? Be kind to the foreigner, for you too were once a foreigner. Be kind to the stranger, for you too were once a stranger. Be kind to the foreigner, for you too were once a foreigner. Be kind to those who have been locked out, the destitute, right? You too were once locked out and destitute. These are all ways, opportunities that we can create safe places for others. But it is the opposition, not feeling that we don't have enough. What existing space can we make a pot of soup and bring it to somebody? The hope and fear at this time is that we want diplomats, we can all be a diplomat. We can all come bringing offerings of peace. And this, do not underestimate how that vibration that you are putting out into the world through your prayers, this Passover and Ramadan, through your good deeds, whether it's as a proud Yoruba or a Sikh or Muslim or whatever you're, or atheist. We have a lot of atheists here. Just somebody who understands that if this planet is going to continue to survive, we have to change course. And so that is the hope of the Knight of Cups, which often is seen as the diplomat's card who brings the elixir, who brings the messages of peace. The final outcome for us at this time of week is gaslighting, lying, corruption, stealing of coin, not knowing where money is gone off to, deception in terms of coin. So be careful with your bank account, making sure no one steals. You might want to change passwords at this time. There's a energy here of hacking, energy here that we are vulnerable in the coming days to theft and hackings and things of this nature. The clarification is a new beginning comes for us in April. The opposition continues to grieve. Either the garden has to start with you. That's the answer. I was watching an interview with a guy, Bill Maher, who said, the purpose is to get our friends off earth because there's no hope. And I thought, wow, you need to speak to some rabbis, to some Kabbalists. We have to complete the work. We're here to complete the work. As bodhisattvas of the earth, as we are here to make this world heaven on earth. Then we can talk about leaving. But until that's done, we're in this matrix together. And it's as simple as choosing to create peace within ourselves and sharing it with others until the jerks realize that no one's going to invite them to the party. It's our party. And if you know anybody that's creating an ayahuasca retreat, or tell them to think about extending it into a kibbutz and creating homes for laborers. Take this vow that you will respect the government. We're not going to be committing human sacrifices in Costa Rica, right? Like if, say, for example, you were to build a commune. I know people that are doing it in Costa Rica, so I use that as an example. They're just extending it from their ayahuasca ceremony so that people, and particularly indigenous peoples, have a place to live because they've been disenfranchised, so that they will have homes, etc., in Costa Rica, etc. They also don't want to remove parts of the forest. So there's a lot going on spiritually in that part of the world. Find a community where you can help, because now the world is entering into the time of commune, where everyone is running. They're running into oasis. So find yours in yourself and either build one or find one. Be strong and of good courage, right? Is that in Joshua? Is that Joshua? Be strong and of good courage, right? So the Queen of Wands is, I seek justice, absolute, boom, boom, my way or the highway. She is the gypsy. She was inspired by gypsy imagery by the artist. She stands on her 2 feet by 2 feet board. Is that what they have? And she does her flamenco, and that is traditionally how it was performed. So as a statement that this is all the land that I have, because I am a Roman, I'm a gypsy. So, and yet she stomps her feet. This little place is mine, and I will not give it up. So there is a fierce knowing and a fight that exists in the Queen of Wands, that she is willing to pull up her wrist, like pull and get down and into the dirt, like that settler, like Golda Meir, and build that utopia for everyone, right? And then the final outcome for us is the old ways are gone and the new ways are emerging. There's a battle coming. April is intense. Let's all be on the right side of history by creating love, by creating safe zones in our heart, and giving it out to the rest of the world. Avoid gossip and speaking ill of others, even those you may have strife with, because it only promotes more distension in the world, which ultimately culminates in a toxic energy that hurts all of us. It's difficult to do, but we have to really watch our language and the way we interact and try and just be a force for the good. If you see an injustice in the world, get involved and see, not shouting and screaming like a lunatic. How can I get food and shelter to these individuals that need it as quickly as possible and as respectfully as possible? Reach out to the countries of the world and say, can we get these people to shelter? Do we have safe harbor? Also, please include prayers every day for the hostages. If they believe we have 54 hostages, many of them are already dead in Gaza. Their poor families have been driven mad seeing the film footage of their beautiful children being tortured. And we just want this madness to end. It's evil beyond comprehension, and it's not the world that any of us should tolerate. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do some blitzes. We're going to stay late today because I missed several days of filming. And I can finally walk. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you. It was there are people that have been writing about the spiritual benefits of COVID. Have you guys been reading any of those? Because you grieve and you cry and you're able to chant. Also, I'm a little loopy probably from Benadryl, but whatever. And it can also be when we get ill, it can be a wonderful time to receive beautiful spiritual lessons as well. All right, let's blitz away. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We're 251 beautiful people strong. Hi, Jiggy Pardo. Good to see you here. Are you the person that healed me? I'm almost well. That was the fastest recovery from COVID. I only was like major sick for like 3 or 4 days, but this is like the second or third time I've gotten it. Oh, Bill Maher is going to go to the White House with Trump. That's great. I think that's great. I think it'll be a good television. I look forward to watching it. Mianu Benshop, I'm from Aruba. Oh, Dutch Caribbean. Wow, I would love to visit that part of the world. I'm sure it's quite lovely. We are frustrated and mad with Trump regime. We import everything. We depend mostly on USC tourism. We don't grow. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at how the Caribbean's economy is going to be doing, and also the environment. We'll try and see as far out as we can because it sounds like a lot of people are worried about the trade, etc. Let's take a look at what's going on in the Dutch Caribbean, etc. Let's just take a look at that island area, Florida, and see if we get in the environmental stuff. We are headed towards hurricane season again in the next month or so. They're coming in earlier and earlier, unfortunately. And staying longer. I see actually the opposite is happening. A brand new economy is about to explode in the islands, and I see new digital currency and new commerce taking up over that part of the world, and it's clean energy and it's clean business, and I see great wealth over the islands. It's quite auspicious. Your first card is the Page of Pentacles, meaning a good work, much work lay ahead. It's also blessed by Archangel Gabriel. So for whatever reason, Archangel Gabriel landed in that part of the world and decided, I'm home, which leads me to think that there must be a large amount of artists, writers, painters, etc., because many believe that Gabriel holds the pen. He writes for Gabriel also was channeled for the Quran, the message, and also the writing of the when the Russian Constitution was written. So he often will channel inspiration of writers, artists, etc. So for whatever reason, Aruba's energy is associated with him, which means the arts. This is a land of artists. It's not a land of warriors that go around killing each other. They can produce that, but it's really art, music, literature, etc. The other thing that they're producing is science. Science, I'm seeing science and physics because they also pulled Archangel Michael. So they wound up with two archangels over that part of the world. Archangel Michael can fight. He is a soldier. He does kill. And that could be because there was battles. It is an area that's been occupied. It does have that aspect, but it's also the karma card, which means there could be a battle coming up. Archangel Michael comes to prepare and protect in battle. He fights Satan and wins. He carries the sword of truth. So I would say that you're well protected, and it's quite excellent. Where you're at right now, major changes and major trade lay ahead. New highways, freeways, industries of trade. I'm seeing massive new infrastructure happening to get trade out. It's zoom, 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 made of wands. The crossing is get the hell off my lawn. Get off my lawn. Stay off my land. Get the hell out. So we know we're becoming successful. We know that this area has always been successful. We want you to not try and get control over our rising success. It's as if this guy's a parasite who's picking in the refrigerator of his friend's house. Oh, I see you got something back there. That's how he sees Aruba, this part of the world. Oh, you got a little money going on there, right? So you got to defend your jewels. You're defending your land. What is above you, we will be victorious. Ace of Swords. Yeah. And what you're sitting in is good stars. See what I'm saying? I'm not worried about it. What you're coming out of, good businessmen. They say you had great businessmen that were the fathers of the country that protected you in ways that some people may not know about. And strong business women. You have geniuses in finance that are going to do very clever things to protect your country. And a new dawn is coming in terms of finance, business, and real estate. Dang, man. Can you believe these cards? Look at these cards. Can you guys see them? Your opposition would be Trump, trying to find out what he can do legally, using legal means to go after you. Hope and fears, Knight of Cups, wary of, hi, we're with the US government. We'd like to help. It's a wariness of the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups has a dark aspect, which is like Casanova, right? So to be wary of the Casanova. And then the final outcome is a new day, a new dawn for this part of the world. Much good blessings and tidings. Your economy is tight and strong. Tourism is on your terms, not on anybody else's. And it's another archangel. This is Uriel, and Uriel is associated with the Ali, which is the Lion of Judah. Also is a fighter card, but he builds things. He is red from fire and he builds things. That's what he likes to do. So he's a pioneer and he's a shapeshifter too, which is why he has the salamander symbol on him, because he is all about the change. You know, you're changing from winter to spring, for example. Each of the archangels are associated with a different time of year as well. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I think of Michael as Aquarius. You know, Aquarius is truth, it's air. So I think, and I always think of the Aquarius time as January. Ace of Swords is a January card. I think of the earth signs as pentacles. Yep. Wands is fire. And Wands is different than any other suit because the wands are alive. Why would wands be associated with time? Does anybody know this? Sorry, my nose is running. Why do readers say that time can only be detected in wands, that no other, well, some say coins, wands and coins, but I'll let you guys decide. But what do we know about wands as opposed to the other as opposed to the other suits? It's alive, right? So pentacles are not alive. It's money. It's associated with money, work, and labor. And so it can be trapped in time in the sense that time is associated with, if your time is associated with work, right? So if you would get a pentacle a week. So early readers may have looked at time if somebody came to them and said, will I have work? You'll have a week of work, one coin's worth of work, right? So there may have been that. But coins are not alive, swords are not alive, right? A wand is alive and a wand grows. Right, Jen. So what is growth? What is growth? It's time, right? So growth proves that time has taken place. You guys see where we're going? So the life and the growth is proof of the time. So that is why, whereas there is no time, it's inert, it's not alive, it's not growing, there's no time. So that is why wands are alive. They live, they grow. And the other thing which Jen points out is that the other aspect, in addition to that, but more specifically, they are used to tell time. They were timekeepers. So if you are a farmer and you wanted to buy a plot of land, you would cut a tree back in the day when these cards were made, for example, and then you would not only count the tree rings, but you would inspect and you would know 50 years ago there was a drought, 100 years ago there was a drought, or there was disease, and you would know the history of the land you were going to purchase. I know, isn't that insane? I can't even wrap my head around that time is trapped in the trees. Isn't that deep as hell? So thus answers the question of why the card readers can capture time in wands. L'chaim, everybody. I'm feeling 1,000 times better. Yeah, I really am. I'm able to breathe again. I'm so grateful. Thank you, everyone who prayed for me. All right, let's keep doing this. Musk and Trump pump and dump schemes outed. All right, let's find out. There are some crazy things going on right now in the relationship between Musk and Trump. Americans feel like it's a situation of, how much you want to bet he's going to be at the interview. Do you think that Elon Musk is going to be at the interview wanting to sit down with Trump because he likes Bill Maher? I want to go there. I want to be at the interview. I mean, this interview can't happen without me. This is how I feel as a remote viewer being Elon Musk. Well, wait a minute. You're getting Bill Maher is cool. I want to be at that interview. Well, I would demand to be there. Now, if he's not there, that's strange because there's just no way I would let that guy with his dippy brain be there and not have me there, because I speak for my bitch. I'm sorry. That's how it feels to be in that energy. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful, but that is how I feel. My ego is bruised. He's getting the interview. But everybody wants, but the cool guy, but the interview is Bill Maher. It's the cool guy if you're in your 50s, right? Put yourself in Elon's shoes. They're going to the White House to speak to him. Come on. You know what's really going on here. I'm the one that gives him $200 million a week or whatever. Come on now. That's how I feel. Let's take a look. Wouldn't you? When you really, some of you are empaths, sit there as Elon and watch all those HBO film people all excited as Bill Maher, and everybody's watching as Bill Maher walks through, and they walk right past you and right past Dodge, and go straight into Musk, straight past Musk and straight into Trump's room and close the door. You're going to put up with that? Seriously? You're sitting there. Be that. Be that. What are you going to do? You're going to knock on the door. Well, yes, you are. Hey, what's going on in here? Hey, you mind if my kid and I watch? My kid and I. We heard something. We thought we'd check it out. This is where I'm headed. That's how I find myself entering the room with my, what is this? My safety blanket? Heartbreak over issues, higher ethos. Higher ethos when it comes to the government is the Constitution. So that is the question. That is the question. The question is a heartbreak. The number one issue for Trump at this time is to discuss the heartbreak of the nation regarding issues of the Constitution or higher ethos of the nation. It's a real feeling of yang energy, and it's also a 30-day period, but Ace of Wands is a very yang phallic symbol, and it would indicate that things are going to be very aggressive, and that also, while one group feels constricted, another feels extremely aggressive and could be pushing through their own stuff. And you have this also Seven of Wands coming in. It's need for defending of the territory. Ace of Pentacles, large sums of money in the 7th house. Wow. The courts are coming in to put a stop to it. I believe it's very likely that Trump and Elon Musk could be stopped from multiple angles, but definitely the courts, because we've got this justice card moving in, and that would be really bad news for whoever's getting this reading, particularly if you see that the reaction is due to action, reaction, Seven of Wands, people feeling that they have to defend their own territory. And he feels that he has to defend his own territory. Very bad, very bad, very bad for me to see. Something I don't like to see as a reader is a moon in the 4th house, which could indicate lunacy or mental health issues. Remember, your mind and your higher self, or your ability to think, is the 4th house. You guys, you and I, we got the emperor, right? Which is very auspicious. He got lunacy. And then the courts come in. And then the issue is the King of Swords. I would say it's not good for him. I would say that this is looking pretty bad. His foreign policies also, there's this military thing coming in with a 3 of Wands, which is a overseas, and then a King of Swords would be military. I'm wondering if part of what's going to be happening is some extreme military action over the next couple of weeks. Yeah, and they're trying to get to peace. Oh, interesting. We could see a ceasefire in Ukraine in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, Putin has to agree not to advance. I'm getting a download on this. Yeah, courts are. It's going to end for Trump. He'll be on legal grounds. It appears something. So people had asked, does he die? No, that is not what this is saying. This is the courts coming in, and it's an accumulation of actions that result in the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, but that lunacy in the fourth house, and that Knight of Pentacles, and the fact that he's crossing card is Eight of Swords. This guy feels trapped by tape that's preventing him from doing what he wants to do. Very interesting. Yeah. So basically, you guys can interpret the cards anyway. I let you all see them. But I would say that this is someone who's mentally confused at this time, feels constricted, Eight of Swords, can't get ahead because, uh, and it's going to be, there's a power struggle, Ace of Wands, and they're setting up a battle between them and the courts. And it would appear, based on those cards, that the courts win. And that furthermore, this kind of irrational fighting of the Constitution in the courts could likely result in him having a short presidency. That's basically how I would interpret it. Yeah. Anybody want to comment on that? Yeah. Wow. Crazy, huh? All right. Citizens abolished after Trump's departure. Seven of Wands. We are relevant, Their opposition is growing. Community. Hopes and fears. Can it legally exist at all? They will be facing possible allegations or having to defend themselves from, yes, we win. We win on legal grounds again. See High Priestess moving in. The higher ethos. A lot of this was a symbiotic relationship between religious extremists where we let them molest the children. It almost feels like, if you give us money, we'll let you molest the children. It has a creepy aspect because you've got this money aspect investing over religious aspects. So what happened with Citizens United and some of this other stuff was that the goal was to get economic control, get as much economic control over the Constitution, the land, as possible, and then they would cede certain things to the churches if the churches funded it. Yeah. And that's what's being challenged here. Very interesting. All right, next one has to do with what's going on. The Houthi are being attacked by the United States and also Iran. Unfortunately, a lot of Iranians support that. They're like, great, I'm free on Tuesday. Let's bomb Tehran. It's pretty sad when the majority of Iranians support it. I mean, like, what does that say about your government? Bomb us! Come on, man. They just want this guy out. Tell us when you're going to bomb. We'll leave Tehran. We'll go vacation in the north, and then we'll come back on Friday, right? It has this kind of, how you can't run a country when you only have 22% support. So what they do is they're opening the door to more and more immigrants from Afghanistan to keep the extremists in, which is crazy, which is a crazy way to do it, I think the vice president is going to take over, which leads me to think that that Khamenei is not going to be around much longer. He's the one that's really negotiating things. However, they can't continue to isolate themselves from the outside world. Their trade routes will dry out. Five of Cups is poverty and not being able to get in, and that could be an embargo. Five of Pentacles, locked out, poverty. So the clarification, wealth, it is a wealthy part of the world. So what they're saying here is that Persia is wealthy and that this is political and that the opposition wants to take over the world. So the opposition has the world. It's the world against Iran, and the international courts. Everybody is against Iran, but it's also saying that this is that we have this wealth, but we live in poverty because of these blocks that are happening, and the blocks will be one day lifted. Five of Cups moves into Nine of Cups, but it happens when they take over. The world takes over. I honestly, they've created so many problems, like these protests and all these kids that got into this crazy stuff and kids got killed. I think things will be good, but the regime will change. The regime will change because the opposition has the world. Yeah. It's just how it has to happen. It's not the will of the people. If it was, if the people found meaning in living like that, then you wouldn't have the entire world wanting to see free Iran. It's because the reason the protests are happening, because it's not the will of the people. It is not their country. It is not their country. Their country has been taken over, and that is what the people are saying. So let's take a look at one more, and then I guess we'll call it a day. Thank you for hanging with me. If you didn't have a chance to like and subscribe, I'd be forever grateful. Okay, Trump and Vance election. Any decertification or challenges in the future regarding whether or not we know they stole their election. They're coming up with clever ways to go into districts where they're on the fence and polling just enough voters in those precincts to ensure that they win. It's basically apartheid 2.0, it's Jim Crow 2.0, and I think it's absolutely disgusting that we're just sitting back like victims, allowing them to do it. I mean, we've got to get organized. This is crazy. Decertification of election. It says that the election system is sick because we didn't do more to secure the states. If the states are not secure, then the federal elections are not secure. So the issue was at the state level. So there was an issue of health at the state level, which means that the feds have to come in, just like the feds had to come to Alabama. That troops had to come in. We're this is the state we've gotten to. Unfortunately, this guy is like a Confederate. It's like the Confederates walked into the White House. It's terrifying. It's horrific. And then the final outcome is Ace of Swords. So yes, we will be able to prove that they stole the election, but it's not enough for us to be able to say that we can prove that we can bring in data analysts, et cetera, that they threw out. They knew, for example, that they needed 2,000 votes to win. So they threw out 2,500, found those people and did it in such a way that there wasn't time for people to re-register, or they never notified the person. It was very organized. They had plenty of time to do it. My question is, why is this stuff being done out in the open? And why isn't more being done to protect our voting process? And why were we able to bring troops to Alabama in the 1960s, but this didn't happen? I'm just so disgusted with everything. But it goes back to this whole idea that we, the people, have to be there. We have to be active. We can't sit back. If we see a problem, we have to get involved and not, I got real comfortable when Obama became president. I thought, okay, the country is great. It's like, we're normal now. And I can just check out for 8 years. Well, that was a mistake because the opposition was not checking out. And that's the hard lesson we learned from what happened with Obama. We thought that we could just be like, well, I'm good. But we must always be engaged. We must always be engaged because they are always engaged. All right. I want to thank you all for coming to hang out with me and being patient while I recovered from my bug. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can find the information below. Check out the book also if you want to join our Book of the Month Club, The Sunny Side of Crazy. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody. Love you guys. Bye. Thank you.